Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join me weekly as we bring you inspiration through success stories by our guests. What if you were born into a family with a successful business empire? Would you take a back seat or would you carve out your own niche? Our guest today has succeeded in doing the latter, an award winning female entrepreneur who plays important roles in her family business, in her own organization, and many community projects. It's with pleasure I welcome to our show President and CEO of Eastone Group of Hotels and the Gupta Group, and the founder and president of the Shakti Society, Miss Reetu Gupta. Reet,
Hi, how are you?
good. Welcome back. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. So good to see you. You look great.
You do too. Well, let's start off by enlightening our viewers about how you grew up in your family. What was it like growing up in a successful family?
Sure. So it was definitely a very interesting family dynamic, I would say. When we were very young, our parents wanted all of us, so I have three other siblings, they wanted all of us to work in the office. To be honest, when you're 8, 9 years old, you don't really want to spend your summers in an office. You want to be outside. But they said, nope, you have to go to the office. So we started really young, and I was doing a lot of paperwork, filing, answering phones, that type of thing. And as we got older, my dad gave us more and more responsibility. So then I started taking over accounting. At that time, our company was looking after apartment buildings. So I was doing a lot of rent rolls, and I was really young. I was maybe 11 or 12. And my older sister and I would go through the rent rolls. And honestly, when I was small, I didn't appreciate it. And I didn't exactly enjoy doing this. I did it because I had to, quite frankly. But as I got older, I realized that I learned so many more professional skills, hard skills, soft skills at such a young age that when I got into the workforce after university, I was so much ahead of the curve. And had I not had that experience, I wouldn't have been ahead of the curve and I wouldn't have been able to learn as much as I did. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic. My friends would come over when I was small, and because we were always developing hotels, we would have carpet samples and doorknobs all over the family room. And we were embarrassed. My friends came over, they loved it. They would step on the carpets and they would tell my dad, Mr. Gupta, we like this doorknob, we don't like this carpet color. So it ended up being a gigantic family ordeal. Every time we opened up a hotel, our house became a sample room. And those are the strange memories that we have growing up.
That's amazing, Ritu. I mean, sometimes we wonder, when we are growing up, why do we go against our parents? Because in the end, you realize it helps us in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The example that you're giving us right now. But what in your mind, or in your mind, did it ever go through that you wanted to do something else, like break away? Or what motivated you finally to follow in your dad's footsteps?
Yes, for sure. It's a great question. So actually, even though my dad has and had at that time a great business, he told all of us that he wanted all four of us to be doctors and lawyers. So as you said, you listen to what your parents say. So I had that in my mind that I'll be a doctor. I volunteered at the North York General Hospital, and I volunteered there for so many summers as well, trying to understand medicine and science and what would I like to do. But to be honest, I think it was in grade 12, I realized that my passion was somewhere else. So I started taking marketing courses and business courses and realized I absolutely loved it. So I was in high school at the time of OAC. So at that point, all of my OACs were chosen and they were chosen in science. But I changed it at the very last minute and chose all business courses. So I think it was something just hit me in grade 12. And I really realized that science is not necessarily where I want to be. And I don't like blood. If I see blood, I will freak out. I don't know why I thought I could be a doctor. So yes, that's when I realized that my passion was in marketing and business. And that's when I changed. So this was in grade 12.
Wow. I must say, it's great that your dad gave you the opportunity to explore other things and make that decision for yourself. And it's interesting that he did encourage a field that was really not what he was in. So that is amazing. So it finally came to you that what you wanted to do was really within your genetics, if you want to put it that way. But that conclusion came after you'd explored everything else.
Yes, for sure. So actually, before I worked at Easton's, before I worked at this company, I was in the co-op program at the University of Toronto at Scarborough. So I did a co-op term. I won't name the company. It was an insurance company. Oh my God, I spent a summer with them, and I was so used to our work environment, which is fast paced, quick decisions. You're getting things done every day. So I went to this environment. It was so slow, and to the point that my superior sat me down and said, "Reetu, you're working too quickly. You have to pace out your day, take breaks." And I thought the work they gave me was so easy. There was no way that I could span it out over the course of 2 weeks. So that's when I realized that, I had a little taste of the outside corporate world, and it wasn't for me.
Well, Ritu, you're doing amazing with whatever you're doing. So we have figured out how you came to be where you are right now, and all the success you have achieved is through hard work of your own. Even though you did have the background and the experience, bestowed upon you by your dad, but you really worked for it. So congratulations
Thank you.
on where you are right now.
Thank
We
you so
have to
much.
find we have to find out more about what you do beyond the world of business and beyond the corporate world. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. In 2017, our guest was honored with the distinction of Canada's Top 40 Under 40. Let's continue our conversation with Ms. Reetu Gupta. So, Ritu, once again, congratulations. Proud that you are a female entrepreneur who is leading the community to successful heights of a different kind.
Thank you so much.
Now, you're very busy with what you do, yet you have time to give back to the community. So, one of those projects is the Shakti Society. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. So I've always had this inner passion to be able to give back. As you said, I feel like that it's my duty, and it's something that is very very important to me. So about 10 years ago, I started meditating, and that's when I met my guru, Shri Guru Swami from India, and I started meditating and I met him, and I felt that I was put on a different path. I found so much peace and clarity in meditation, and I was loving the practice of it. So in 2012, I believe, I decided that I needed to create an organization that I could use to give back. I wanted it to be a charitable organization. So I had this thought to create the Shakti Society. I made it a charitable organization, but it just sat there. I went there for 2 years because I didn't know what I was supposed to do with it, but I knew that I would do something with it. So I followed that feeling, and then in 2014, a lot of my friends started asking me, we want you to teach us meditation. So I that's what I use the Shakti Society. I use that as a vehicle to teach meditation, and I started teaching my friends. It was about 5 of us, and I mean somehow it grew. I teach monthly. It grew so much, and now I'm actually doing online live meditations. I've been doing it throughout this pandemic only because I really feel that now, while everybody's home and they're in that state of isolation, meditation is the most beautiful way to find that inner happiness, to find that inner peace. So that is what I've been doing with Shakti Society so far. And I really hope, and my goal with this organization is to be able to empower individuals and inspire and instill a sense of confidence. And for me, that will always bring inner happiness.
That's just amazing, Ritu. And you said during this pandemic, you have continued to provide that kind of insight to everybody online. People could easily say you're a busy executive in the norm times. And now during the COVID pandemic, you could easily just not do anything and take a break. But instead, you're still giving and giving and giving back to the community. You have also been part of Project Kindness, and this is an awesome initiative. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. So when this pandemic hit, first of all, we have to give all of our love to doctors like you that are still working and still working for us and keeping us healthy. So God bless you and thank you so much for that. When this pandemic hit, our industry, the hospitality industry, was hit really hard, and we unfortunately had to close hotels, and business really dropped. And I wanted to make sure that my company remembered what was important. It's not important that we're closing our doors. It's not important that we're losing business. What's important is there's people that are worse off than us. There's people that are in need. And for me, kindness is so contagious that I felt if I was able to spread kindness throughout my company and to the community, my team and our staff, they will all see that, you know what, things might be down right now, but let's turn this around and let's provide kindness to others. So the first thing that I did, and I'm so proud of all of our teams across Eastone's group, I asked them, I want to launch this project because our hotels are winding down, we have excess food. I don't want that food to go to waste. Let's do a donation to Second Harvest, and Second Harvest in turn gives this food to the needy. Amitha, within 24 hours, we raised 1,870 pounds of food. All of our hotels and all of our general managers, God bless them, they jumped on board and they said, Reetu, no problem, we'll get this done. 1,800 pounds of food. It was just such a beautiful moment for me. And that just sparked more and more and more. So we also donated 2,500 masks to the University Health Network. And a lot of our hotels are outside of Toronto. We have a hotel out in Thunder Bay. They also gave donations to shelters. We have a hotel in Kingston. They did the same thing. They donated toiletries, shampoos, conditioners to shelters and whatnot. So it's been constantly expanding, which has just been really fantastic.
That is great. How did the whole team come together?
You know what? So I wasn't sleeping, to be honest, because I just felt so horrible that we had to close hotels and send people home, and it was bothering my heart. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, the best way to solve this issue is through kindness. So I called my brother and I told Suraj, I said, listen, I think we need to do this. He said, 1000% I'm in. So that's how it started. So Suraj and I basically started Project Kindness, and we contacted all our hotels and said, this is what we would like to do. And honestly, it's all a credit to our teams, because Suraj and I, as soon as we contacted our teams, they all jumped on board. They could have said no. They could have said, are you crazy? We need to think about ourselves. But all of them said, no, Reetu, we're in. And really the credit goes to all of our general managers and all of our hotel teams across the Eastone's group, because they're the ones that did this and they're the ones that jumped on board.
Well, thank you on behalf of the entire humanity for this. And thank you so much. Well, Reetu, it's amazing. You keep doing all these different kind of community projects. Project Kindness is what's most current, but you're also been part of many other projects which are probably initiated by some other organization, but you have actually an important part to play in that. Can you enlighten us on some of those projects?
Sure. So we do, again, working in the community is very, very important for us. So last year, when the Raptors won the championship, actually, no, this is before they won the championship, when they became finalists, I felt so inspired that this team basically inspired an entire country, and everybody, I felt like everyone had this strong unity. So again, I told my brother, I said, I feel like we need to give back. I feel like we also need to help Toronto. So we partnered with MLSE, which is Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment. They have something called a Launchpad. So it's downtown. It's for kids that they basically use sports to teach them professional skills, which is amazing. And they're all for kids in the community that might not have the money to be able to go to other classes outside of school. It's amazing. So we basically launched this program, and we were able to raise, I think, just over $20,000, which was able to fund their entire summer program. But for me, education is very important, and especially education for children, because I find that when you're young, meditation is important, education is important, and if we can give them those skills, you're giving them that chance to be successful. So I tend to sort of gear myself towards those types of organizations and foundations where I can especially help the lower age group, because if we can connect to them, and if we're able to empower them at that young age, they have so much of a better chance to get themselves out of poverty and to have a successful and a prosperous life.
This is great. So you're actually providing skills not just to be successful in, as we call it, the materialistic world, but also giving them skills to have a wholesome life. So we have already heard what you're saying, that it is important for you to give back to the community, but why specifically so?
In terms of giving back to the community, I feel like I was born this way, with a sense of wanting to give back. And to be honest, my parents, as they were raising us, they always told us how important it was. Whatever, when you're small, you get birthday gifts and you'll get some money. They would always say, make sure that you save some and make sure that you always donate. And growing up, we would see all of the work that my parents did. My dad has built eye camps in India, and he's been able to help about 50,000 people get glasses and get small eye surgeries. We've grown up in a household where philanthropy and giving back was so important. So I think somehow it was injected in me tenfold, and it's definitely something that I want to do. We have a family foundation, and through that foundation, I'm now looking at opening schools that will offer spiritual lessons from my guru, as well as education to the to the lower aged kids, so probably the primary school age. So that's research that I'm doing now, and I'm hoping that I can start on this project again after this pandemic is over, and hoping to go into the new year with this project as well.
This is great. So much inspiration here, Reetu, as always. And I love your smile, love the aura around you. Even though this is being done virtually, I can already feel it through the internet waves. So you're making a huge difference in the world, not just individually, but as for your organization as well. We want to find out more about the tips that you would give us on leading a happy life. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. In 2019, our guest was awarded Canada's Top Powerful Women BMO Entrepreneur Award. We are talking to Ms. Reetu Gupta. So Reetu, we have heard about how you grew up in a successful family, how you paved your own path after exploring all the options available out there. And not just in the business corporate world have you made a mark, you're now making a mark in the area of health and wellness through leading a wholesome life. So we heard about what your vision is with all the projects that will be upcoming. Now you tell me, you have received all these awards. That is what we call materialistic recognition, but you just have made us aware that happiness happens through meditation and balance. So tell us more.
Sure. So it's interesting that you brought up the awards. It's funny because last year when I got this award of the Top 100 by the Women's Executive Network, and this network was founded by Sherry Stevens. She's just a fantastic woman, and her only goal is to empower other women. So when I got this award, it wasn't, I mean, I was so excited, but I felt an even more ginormous responsibility that I have to be able to give back and show other people, especially women, that you can really do anything that you put your mind to. And I think that one of the lessons from my guru, from Guruji, that he taught me was to live life with happiness, not for happiness. And I think that would be the first lesson that I would tell all of you, is that we get caught up in wanting these awards and big houses and cars, and I'm only going to be happy if I get this job, or I buy this car, I buy this house. And the problem is that you'll achieve those things, but then you'll still find that you're not happy. And the secret to happiness is to find that happiness within yourself. And I think another thing that people tend to do is that they're very hard on themselves. And if someone sits down to meditate and they can't do it, they'll be so angry with themselves. Or, if they're home and they feel like, oh, during this crisis, I haven't really gone out for walks, or I haven't done what I want to do. They're really hard on themselves. And I think that people will take that time and they'll really speak badly to themselves and say, what are you doing? I can't believe it. Oh my God, you're gaining weight. And the way that we talk to ourselves, those are the words that are going to formulate our destiny. And I find, and one thing I teach in meditation is to be able to tell yourself only positive things. So rather than start your day and say, oh my God, I'm in the pandemic, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore. But if you wake up, and I want you to try this tomorrow, when you wake up, don't think about anything negative, but tell yourself, today is going to be a beautiful day, and I am strong, and I'm not tired, and today I'm going to go for that walk, and today I'm going to do at least one thing that I didn't do yesterday. And your whole day will change. You will attract so much positivity, and that's what's so important. And I find that people forget that, and they're so hard on themselves, and they're so mean to themselves. You would not like it if someone came to you and said, get off the sofa, you've been sitting all day, you're old, you're tired. So why do we do that to ourselves? It's so important to speak to yourself with love. And that is another way that you'll find that inner happiness. And then no matter what happens, you will always be happy. Whether or not you get that job, whether or not you get that car, you will always have this inner satisfaction and this inner sense of peace.
Very well said, Ritu. It's so true. I related to a lot of the stuff that you said as to how we are the hardest on ourselves. And I love the fact that you're encouraging positive affirmations as we start the day. And with all this, you're also practicing this, you're leading by example. So how does your typical day look like?
Absolutely. So I'm an early riser. It's funny because even whether I'm on vacation or, we're here and we're essential, so we are open for business. I know a lot of people are sleeping in, and they laugh because I'm the person that gets up around 5:30. And I love that time of day because I feel like that's the time when I can meditate. And although I am getting emails at 5 a.m., I'm able to still meditate and focus. I can get my workout in, and then I can start the day at, around 8 when things start picking up. So for me, those two things are so important. And I think for everyone out there, it's whether or not you choose to meditate. I mean, obviously I'm super biased, so I would say everybody should meditate. And I'm doing my next session on Friday on Instagram at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I think that you have to find something that you're passionate about. And if you can do something even once a week that you're passionate about, that will fuel you for the entire week. So for me, I also love to dance. And I've been doing Indian dancing since I was about 8 years old. I've also started ballroom dancing. So when I'm able to dance and I'm able to do that one small thing that makes me so happy, it really fuels me for the rest of the week. So I think that during this pandemic, especially, it's important to look into your soul and find out what is it that you're passionate about and do that. Even spend half an hour just on that passion. Your soul will be so happy and it will take you through the week for sure.
Very well said, Reetu. I can see why you're so grounded despite being so successful. Sometimes we come across people who are very successful and, they're quite arrogant and they don't want to give back to the community. But I can see how you have become so grounded, and that in itself is a reason for your success. So rightfully deserved all the awards, and rightfully, getting that following that you have through your meditation. You told us about your dancing, so that's one of your hobbies. Do you have any other hobbies that you'd like to share with us?
Sure, I love to read. Reading is definitely since I was small. I actually love to read. There was a program when I was in elementary school. I think it was called Book It, and if you read a certain number of books every month, you get a free pizza. So I was constantly eating pizza, constantly showing my mom the card, and we would go to Pizza Hut and get our free pizza. I've always loved to read, and I also, for my close friends, every time I read a book that I love, I will always buy that book for them and tell them, you need to read this. And I'm old school. I love real books. I love the feel of the pages. I don't do the Kindles or those e-books. I can't do that. I need my time with my real books. I absolutely love that.
That's great, Ritu. Well, you're such a well-rounded person in every sense of the word. You have inspired us so much today. Do you have any final words of advice for our viewers, not just about life tips, but in general, if they aspire to be a successful female entrepreneur, community leader like you?
Absolutely. I think that you are holding the pen that is writing your own destiny. So whatever story you want, whatever story you decide to write, that's going to be your story. So if you're writing your own story, write yourself in as a hero or the heroine. Don't write yourself in as a villain. Don't write yourself in as a side character. This is your opportunity. You can create whatever destiny you want, and you're the one that's holding the pen. So I would say you have to keep that in mind, that you have the ability to be the hero and heroine of your own story, but you have to write yourself in as that.
Thank you so much, Ritu, for being with us today and giving us your time from your busy schedule. We wish you all the best with all the projects that you're part of, and we want to be part of your meditation as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was Miss Reetu Gupta, who has inspired us today. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com. Until next week, this is Amitha signing off, encouraging you to hold the pen towards your spotlight.